Hello, hello, hello. Can you all hear me okay? Happy Friday night. I am ready to get sewing, and I have fabric that, spoiler alert, I pre-washed, which I normally don't do, but I did it for tonight, and I'll talk about why I pre-washed that fabric in a few minutes. So tonight I'm going to be working on a pillowcase, and I'm really excited to do this. It's going to be a Christmas themed pillowcase using fabric from the Cozy Wonderland line by Fancy That Designs for Moda Fabrics. I picked this fabric up from the Scrappy Apple in Winchester, Virginia on our Small Business Saturday shop hop, and I'm in love with it. In fact, I got enough fabric to even make a quilt and probably still have some of it on my shelves. So I did splurge on this, and I thought it would be a lot of fun to put together a pillowcase. Awesome. Michelle says, yes, we can hear you. Wonderful. Thank you. Also, I want to give Cynthia a quick shout out. She sent me a super chat. It was her first super chat on one of my lives. So thank you for that, Cynthia. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna use that to treat myself to maybe a peppermint mocha. Peppermint mocha latte. Latte. So, all right. Mary is in the room with me tonight because for those of you that don't know who Mary is, how do you not know who Mary is? But Mary is one of my very best friends. She is near and dear to my heart, and she is visiting for the holidays. She will be here through the first of the year. And so she's just taking advantage of spending as much time with me as she can. So probably for the next few live streams, she will be with me if she is not over visiting Ian. So she is in the studio with me tonight. She does not have a mic on because she is busy working on some things, but she might grab a mic in a little bit. Oh my goodness. Ah! All right, so I pre-washed this fabric because I'm going to make a pillowcase. And I have not pre-washed my fabric for pillowcases in the past. And when I don't pre-wash the fabric, I don't know if it's because of this, but I wonder if it is. Normally I just buy the fabric and I take it right off the bolt and I starch it and then I sew it together and I do all the things. But then I notice that sometimes after it's been washed a few times, it wants to twist and turn a little bit differently. And I think that's just because the fabric is shrinking up a bit. And so I figured if I pre-washed it, then maybe as I'm washing this, it'll be a bit better. And so what I did is I took a 27-inch piece of my body fabric, which is this here, and I'll go to the overhead camera. So thank you. Everybody's saying bless you because I sneezed. Thank you so much. I'm going to go to the overhead camera and see if you guys can see. I'm hoping it works. Ah, good. It does work. I did some moving around of cameras and cords today. So I'm just hoping that everything still lines up and you can still see everything. So this is the fabric that I pulled in. And where is that coming from? Oh, you can see my chapstick. How about that? This is the fabric that I picked up. This is going to be the body of my pillowcase. And so this is a 3/4 yard cut. And then for the cuff and the accent, I got a 1/4 yard of each because I wasn't sure which one I wanted to do. Now the accent piece really needs to be a lot smaller than a 1/4 yard, but a lot of places the minimum that they'll cut is a 1/4 yard. Some of them will do an 1/8 yard. I just figured I could get a 1/4 yard of both, and then that would allow me to make a decision on the fly. And so you guys are going to help me with that. Tonight we're going to lay out the fabrics and we're going to audition 2 different ways that this can go together. We will have the red as the strip, like this. So that is option number 1. Or option number 2 will be the stockings as the strip and then the red as the cuff. I have been leaning towards doing this option 1 with the red as the strip, but this might work too. So let me know what you prefer, whether it's option 1 or 2. Option 1, again, is the red as the strip and the blue as the cuff, like that. Option 2 is the blue as the accent and the red as the cuff. And ideally, you could just, if it's harder to do that too, you could just type red cuff or blue cuff and we'll know what you mean. So which one do you like as the cuff? And I'm paying attention to the chat. There's lots of option twos. Lots of you like this one. There's a few that like the option one with the red accent, but there's a lot. There's a lot. So while we're waiting for those chats to come in, let's talk a little bit about my trip to the Scrappy Apple because this was hilarious to me. When Mary, Ian, and I got to the Scrappy Apple in Winchester, we all walked in, and surprisingly enough, I think the shop owner, Kelly, remembered Mary. She remembered you, right, Mary?
Yes, she did.
She remembered Mary, but Mary's been in there a few times. So we start looking around, and I'm a little quiet, and I'm just kind of perusing the shelves and trying to find something that speaks to me. And I didn't really find anything right away. So I was picking up a few small things to be stocking stuffers, and I think I had gotten a few fat quarters to do some EPP with some hexies, and that was it. And I went up and I checked out and I paid, and Kelly, the shop owner, said, "Hey, last time you were here, you were really excited and bubbly and you seem a little melancholy. Do you want some chocolate?" And I was like, "Well, a girl can always use some chocolate." So she went back to the back and brought out these little fun size candy bars, and each of us we all got to treat ourselves to a small candy bar. And I'm sitting there. They have a little chair next to their cutting table. And so I'm sitting at the cutting table and I'm watching Kathy, who is the other lady there, cut fabric for, I think it was Mary. There was a bunch of fabric that Mary had picked out for something. What did you buy that fabric for?
I'm making a quilt for
Oh, the Wizard of Oz quilt.
Yeah.
Yeah. She bought a lot of blenders for a Wizard of Oz quilt. She had the print fabric, so she needed some blenders to go with it. And so there was there was a large assortment of fabric that she was cutting little pieces of yardage off. And so she's going through the bolts and she's cutting them, and I'm just watching. And I think I said something like, "That's pretty," or something like that. I don't remember what I said. But after I had mentioned a few things, I had talked to Kathy a little bit. She goes, "Do you have a YouTube channel?" And I was like, "I do." And she goes, "Is it so, Becca?" And I went, "It is." And Kathy's about died. At which point we ribbed each other for the rest of the visit, and it was great. But it was about that time that the chocolate was kicking in. I was getting a little slap happy. But I just wanted to give Kathy and Kelly a shout out because we had a blast at the Scrappy Apple. So this fabric is fabric that I wasn't going to buy, but while I'm looking at the chat, lots of red cuffs. So we'll probably be going that way. Of course, I'm going to ask Mary for her opinion too, and her vote is worth probably about 500 points. So we'll see. The reason why I got this fabric is because hanging up on the wall behind them was this panel. And I'll see if I can kind of lay it out. I'll have to move it because you won't be able to see the entire thing all at once. But this panel, specifically this one here, this kept calling to me. I love ornaments that are shaped like this. I just always have. And I kept looking at it. And I was looking at some of the other pieces that were on the panel, and I thought they were okay. But what I really wanted was this piece. And so I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll get 2 of that panel. And so I started ringing up another transaction. I got 2 of the panel. And I was talking to Kathy about it, and Kathy said, "Well, we have that line on the shelf." And so she walked me to where the fabric for this line was. And I picked out some fabric to go with it. I got the cream that has a white snowflake on it that blends perfectly with this. I was like, okay, that's great. And then I had seen the red, the green, and the red, the green, and the blue. Oh, you know what we can do, guys? I'm going to pull this out because we've already seen it. Again, this is option 2. And this is going to be... I'm going to fold it so we can see. Don't forget, if you're just hopping into the chat, I am asking for your opinion. I'm going to make a pillowcase here. And so what I'm looking for is, do you think that my pillowcase should have a red cuff or the blue cuff? And so I'm going to lay them both out for you if you just want to type red or blue for the cuff that you think I should make. I'd love to hear your opinion. So while I'm apparently doing multiple things at once, I'm just going to lay out another audition so that you guys can kind of see what I'm doing here. Now keep in mind, if I do it this way, we're going to have, I'm going to fold it in because I don't want to show, there we go, like this. So it would be something like this. Red cuff or blue cuff. Let me know in the live chat. Okay, so to finish my story, this is 1, 2. So as I'm sitting down, lots of people are saying red cuff. Lot of red cuff. Lot of red cuff. Mary pointed to this one. She likes the blue cuff.
Yeah, I like all them.
So
Sorry, guys.
red cuff, please. Red, 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 red. They like the red. They think the red really pops.
I go with what the majority says.
Yeah, lots of people are saying red. So anyway, let me finish the story, and I am paying attention to the chat. Mary B says you can't go wrong with either, and I think she's probably right.
Yep.
I love this fabric so much that I wanted to get some more of it. And so I picked this out with the idea that I was going to do a pillowcase. And then I realized I loved this stocking, and so I wanted to get more of it. So I've got more of this here because I thought this would be really fun as a binding on a quilt. And so I started pulling fabric for a quilt. That's where that 1 yard kind of came in from. I got about 5 yards of this Santa print, which I just think is beautiful and love it. And this might end up being a pillowcase in and of itself, but I couldn't decide on what prints I wanted. And so I got myself charm packs. And why did I get charm packs? Well, because each charm pack has 42 pieces in it. 42 times 3 is what, 84 plus another, it's 100 something, 120 something, 126, I think it is. 126 pieces would allow me to do a quilt that is 10 across by 12 down. That's still a good size quilt. And that's just if I sew the 5-inch squares side by side and make it like a patchwork quilt. If I add sashing or borders or do anything else to it, that's just going to grow it. So I was thinking that I would just take these charm packs and sew them together, and it would make a nice, cute, cozy throw, and it would be easy to whip up, and I could get it on the long arm pretty quickly, and might even have it finished before Christmas. Okay. Yo Patty G is saying, Becca, did you get my email from last week's giveaway? Mary saying yes. Did it go to you?
Yes, it went to me.
Here, let me just give you.
Sorry.
No, you're okay. That way you don't have to yell.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. So we had scheduled a pickup for all the packages, and the mailman didn't pick them up.
Yeah.
So they just picked them up yesterday.
Yeah.
So you should be receiving your packages within the next week.
Yep. Mary packaged everything up, set it on the porch, ordered a pickup at like Sunday night, and set them out there for Monday, and nothing. Nope. And then Tuesday, nothing. And then Wednesday, nothing. So they just got picked up yesterday, but they are on their way now.
Yep. Sometimes you have to give them a little nudge.
Yep. Yeah, almost a layer cake, Linda. You're right. And I don't have enough of the body fabric to make 2 pillowcases, but here's what I was thinking. I only bought a yard of this, so I have 1/4 of a yard left of it. I actually do think I'm going to make a second one. I had already talked to Mary about making a second one. I just got to order another yard of this fabric. I'm going to hop onto the Scrappy Apples website, see if I can order it from them. If not, I'll just go to Etsy or Fat Quarter Shop or somewhere. But if I can give my business to a small local quilt shop, I would rather do that. So I'm going to sew this one up with the red cuff, and then Cheryl's saying one of each. I do like the idea of doing one of each because then it could be his and hers for Christmas. And so I'll do another one with the blue cuff once I get my yard of fabric. Now, I did mention that I've already pre-washed this, so I want to talk about how what are you looking for, Mayor?
Nothing. I was just looking to see if you had clips on your desk.
I have clips in my toolbox. Yep. Mm-hmm. I will talk about when I pre-washed this, I did do one thing. So I left the selvages on it because when you pre-wash your fabric, what's actually going to happen is the fabric is going to shrink between the two selvage sides. Now, normally when I'm making a quilt, I actually don't pre-wash my fabric. I just put it all into the quilt and I go. If it's pre-cuts that I'm going to cut down and there's room, I will starch it. Otherwise, I don't starch if I'm working with just pre-cuts. But if I'm working with yardage and going to cut, I will starch. And so I won't pre-wash my fabrics when I put it into the quilt. I have never really had a problem, but I do sometimes if I've got a color like a red that I'm worried is going to bleed, I will wash the quilt with a color catcher 1 or 2 times just to make sure that any excess ink that's on the fabric bleeds onto the color catcher and it's not bleeding onto the other areas of the quilt. Now, the only difference is with batiks, you got to be careful. I have heard, Tiankum from So Yeah has said this, and I trust him explicitly when he says it. He says the chemicals in the color catchers will actually cause the ink and the dye from batiks to bleed when they wouldn't have done so already. So you can wash batiks time and time and time again, and the color catcher, from what I've heard, will always catch color. It'll always catch excess dye when you're washing those batiks, and it's because it's just going to keep bleeding and the fabrics are going to get less and less vibrant. So these aren't batiks though, so I don't have to worry about any of that. All right, so I left the selvages on here. As I said, the fabric's going to shrink between the selvages. And then I took this to my sewing machine and I did a stay stitch along both edges where this is cut just to keep this from unraveling and being a knotted mess in the washer and dryer. And you can see that actually worked out quite well. So, I think I am ready to get sewing. We know that this is going to be our cuff. This is going to be our accent, and this is going to be my body. So the first thing that I want to do, I think it's 4 inches for the accent. Is that right, Mary? For a burrito?
So,
yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and take my 1/4 yard. I'm just going to cut it in half, which would be 4.5 inches because it's a 9-inch piece. So what I'm going to do is probably move all of this fabric down to my floor, and I'll clean it up later because I'm going to need my pressing surface. Oh, I found a couple more books.
Okay, no worries.
I'll just put them down here. It's fine.
I got them.
We'll get them later. And my charms. All the things to the floor. Alexandria Span says, you could do patchwork, but instead of just sewing squares with sashing, make the squares into little presents using the solids as the ribbon to do the square look like wrapping paper. I like that idea. That's a great idea. I might actually do that. Jennifer says, I made my brother a pair of Christmas pillowcases just a couple weeks ago. Linda says, batiks always bleed or fade easy. Yes. I don't know, honestly. I like the way batiks look and I work with them, but I won't say yes and I won't say no. I'll say it depends. I made a beautiful quilt with my mom out of complete batiks, and they were good quality, local quilt shop cotton, like really good quality batiks. And the white, I'll use air quotes around the white that I introduced into the quilt that had purples and blues and vibrant pinks, I've noticed it's been washed a few times now the whites have like a pink hue to them. And if you add pink to the blue, it's just going to be more purple. So I think it's bled, but I really haven't washed a whole lot of the batik quilts that I have. So not with a white where the dye would spill. Hello, Janine. We've got Janine in the chat. Deb's Hill. She says, I got my Raspberry Mini Oliso M3 Pro yesterday. Congratulations. I'm just going to press these. I'm not going to worry about using starch or anything because I just want this to be flat with no wrinkles while I'm working on it. I'm going to a retreat in June, and we have drawn names. Well, actually, I think, whatever. There's a name. There's a swap happening where we're going to make each other a quilt based on their color preferences. And one of the things, this is Donna's retreat in Pennsylvania. One of the things that she's asked us to do is to make a coordinating pillowcase with the quilt and put the quilt down into the pillowcase. So I've actually never gifted a quilt inside of a pillowcase, but I love that idea. So I'm excited about that. I'll be making some more of these in my near future once I figure out what quilt I'm going to make. All right. 4.5 inches is what we're going to cut this at. This is going to be for our accent strip. Janine says, I'm lurking while trying to finish a quilt on the long arm. No worries. No worries. Now this accent piece, you can really make it almost as big as you want because the way it's going to lay down on the pillowcase, it's going to kind of go against the body. So the thicker this is, just the wider that accent strip is going to be. This is a 9-inch piece, I believe. And so I'm actually going to cut it at 4 inches like the pattern would say, which I think the pattern might actually cut it at 3 or something, but ooh, I like that. Hello, Annette. I'm going to see if I can get this. The reason why I'm cutting it at 4 is because I want to try to save as much of this fabric as I can, but also I think it would be really cool if I could get the stockings to lay a specific way on that fold. So we'll see what we can do. Mary is getting her Bernina set up. Did you get your surround from the car for that
No,
table?
I got to go outside to get it.
Okay.
I'm getting the space ready.
Okay. I'm really excited to get your machine in here. Once that's cut, then I'm kind of ready to go. So my first step is going to be to take my accent strip. I cut this again at 4 inches, and I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to fold it wrong sides together all the way down. And then I'm going to press it so I have a really nice sharp crease here. The cuff can be cut at 3 inches. Awesome. Okay. Well, let's see here. So here's what I've got. I cut mine at 4. It just means I'm going to have a thicker cuff. That's fine. And I know with a 1/4 inch, it's going to kind of cover this little piece of garland up. This 1/4 inch is never going to go away. Like that's always going to be covered up. And if I cut more of it off, I'm going to push the seam over more and more. And I really want these stockings to be here. So but look at this, guys. This side. So if I did this at 3, let's measure this for a second because I want to see. This would be 3 3/4. That would give me my 1/4 inch. Oh, that's cute. Okay, so we're going to measure this at 3 3/4 because what I'd like to be able to do is catch this whole garland and the stocking on the cuff. So if I measure over at 3 3/4 for me, this just means my accent strip's going to be a little bit larger, but I want it to be so I can capture that stocking. If I do it this way, let me get a pen so I can mark this and see if it does what I think it's going to do. This is 3 3/4. Half of 3 3/4 would be 1.5, and 1.5 is 3. And then 3/4, it's too much brain power. Let's put it, I guess I cut it at 4 inches, didn't I? Oh, 3.5, actually. If I do this at 3.5, that still gives me my 1/4 inch. Okay, we're going to do 3.5 because math is easier that way. Half of 3.5 is 1 3/4. So 1.5 3/4, which is right where that fold is going to be. So this is let me walk you through my brain process. I measured over from this cut edge 3.5 inches, and I'm looking right here to see where does that 1/4 inch mark hit on my vine with my stockings. And it's kind of covering up a little bit of the leaves, but that's it, just a few of the leaves. And then I'm taking half of 3.5 inches because I'm gonna have to fold this in half. Half of 3.5 is 1 3/4. So I'm measuring over 1 3/4 and I'm looking to see where that crease is gonna be. And it is about 1/8 of an inch or a little bit more below the bottom of the longest stockings. So that's gonna let me have the stocking and the vine on my accent strip. What's up?
Ian just texted and says someone in the chat is asking what the fabric line is.
The fabric line is called Cozy Wonderland by Fancy That Designs for Moda Fabrics. And I will do this. Here's the charm pack so you guys can see it. Okay. Cozy Wonderland.
Uh-oh. Oh, I thought that was the picture I just hung falling down.
What was it?
It was the one of the patterns. There's no bookend on there.
Need to get some more book. I have some more acrylic bookends.
I got them.
Okay.
I'm going to put them up there.
Okay. I'm
It's
so
all
excited
good.
to see you sitting at a sewing machine, Mary. You've been here for a week. Tomorrow. No, today.
Today, yep.
You've been here for a week and have yet to sew a single stitch.
Yep.
Between she's been bouncing back and forth, so she'll spend like a couple of nights here in the evening and then she'll go over to Ian's and spend a couple of nights over there. But his place has come together, you guys. On Sunday, his live stream, I think, is going to be from his sewing room. And he is excited for it. I did upgrade my bookshelves. I got taller bookshelves. I got 15-inch bookshelves, 2 of them, and put them together instead of 2 30-inch ones. But I got the really tall ones, and they hold all of my books plus some extra space. I'm looking over there now.
Yep.
But the ones that were shorter, I actually re-gifted to Ian, and he's making use of them. So I'm really excited to know that like those extra bookcases are giving somebody else a bit of storage and functionality. All right, so now I am folding this in half. Wrong sides together, all the way along the entire length of this 3.5 inch strip. And again, normally this would be 3 inches, but oh man, this is crooked. That's okay. That's okay, because one side will look great and one side will be the other side of the pillowcase. It's going to go against the bed. It's fine. I can tell you what side I think is going to be my my pretty side. It's the side where I can see the socks.
There you go.
I'm going to put the feet on my face when I go to bed.
Oh.
So cute.
It's adorable.
So also I want to let you guys know about the 12 days of Quiltmas. If you don't know what that is, tonight was Stephanie from Memoirs of a Long Arm Quilter. It was her turn up at bat. If you haven't checked out her video, I haven't seen it yet, but it should be out there. I am, as each video is being released, adding them to a playlist, which is right on my YouTube channel. So if you load the Sew Becca channel and you scroll down about halfway or so, you'll actually see a playlist that says it says Quiltmas 2024, and every video as they're being released is there. So go back and watch everyone else's video. My video will hit tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern time. It's a short video. It's only about 7 or 8 minutes. I'll show you the project that I am giving away, and then I've got a couple of fun little surprises for you. So make sure to check that video out tomorrow. Hello, Andrea. Does your husband ever watch your videos? Cheryl's asking. Well, ironically enough, he watched the Quiltmas video before I uploaded it because I made him. And yes, sometimes he does. most of the time he's not really into quilting, but every once in a while he does. When Mary and I were at QuiltCon in Atlanta, we did a live stream from QuiltCon in Atlanta. And after the live stream was over, Jason had sent me a picture of Mary and I on our TV screen at home, and all you could see were his feet up on the coffee table. So he was lurking. He was lurking.
And that's when he dubbed me your Sherpa.
Yes, he did do that. He did do that. Okay, Mary, I'm going to need your help. I'm going to need a refresher because it's been a while since I've done this.
Okay.
I think when I'm doing my pillowcase, I lay it so that I lay the cuff piece down first, right side up, and then I take the accent fabric and I line it up here. The fold is down at the bottom. And I'm making sure to put the piece with the thicker blue over here for my seam allowance. And then I take my body, the salvages.
You put that on it and then you fold this up.
But this is this right side up or right side down? That's what I don't remember. And I'm sure somebody in the chat is going to be like, oh, it's right side down.
It's going to be right side down, I believe.
Okay.
I'm almost positive.
Let me know in the chat if it should be right side up because I'm putting it right side down.
Yep.
And by the way, the selvages are on my left and right. I'm lining up all the cut edges. So all I'm going to do here is just line this up. And then I'm going to grab some clips.
You got them?
Yep, I do. Ah! Hello, Sharon. And I'm just going to put a few clips in here. This is very forgiving, so we don't have to have it heavily clipped, right side down. Linda's saying, thank you, Linda. I'm just going to make sure that my cut edges are all lined up nice and neatly. And I'm going to kind of shake this out a bit. Pull up my cut edges, line that up.
Oh, there's your. I was looking for your juki.
Oh yeah, I put it down here. I'll probably have
I wanted to put your other parts with it.
Yeah, well, I've got to bring the juki out this weekend so I can get some serious binding done. Yeah. I don't really like binding on my Singer, to be honest. It's just too much.
She's got a buttload of quilts.
Literally a buttload. A buttload of quilts.
It's not lined up on the bottom.
Oh, thank you for catching that.
Sure. There you go.
Mary's got a front row seat to critique me. All right, so then once we have those clipped, then we're going to take this. This is why they call it a burrito, because we're going to roll the body up, just loosely fold it. And I'm just going to kind of I like to keep it a little neat. And as we're pulling it up, we're going to start to expose the cuff fabric. And so at that point, we're going to bring the cuff back up and around. We want to make sure that this stays out of the way of the edge. So you can see I've got a good bit of distance here and a good bit of distance here. Now I'm going to bring this cuff up and I'm going to clip along the raw edge. So I've got basically a burrito, which is why they call this the burrito method, I think, right? Mary's clipping faster than I am.
It's so good.
If you don't, you can see 4 hands here. I did not grow another set of hands. Mary's just like, I help. I help. I don't know why I'm putting extra clips in here. It'll be fine.
I always like to do that too.
It's fine.
It's all good.
Here, will you do something with that? Thank
Absolutely.
you. Appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, now I'm going to bring this over to the sewing machine, and along that edge where we did all of our clipping, we're just going to sew at 1/4 of an inch, but this is very forgiving. So your seam allowance doesn't have to be perfect. It probably doesn't even have to be really straight. Just make sure you get all of those layers in there. Oh, hey, my ring. Okay.
This almost doesn't fit back in that space back there.
Almost doesn't?
Almost does.
Almost, which means it does.
No, it almost does.
Oh, sad.
I know. It would have been perfect.
We'll find another spot for it.
I'm going to put it right underneath that sign right there, I think. Unless you want.
Oh, that's fine.
Is that fine?
No,
Okay.
that's what I had, like, yeah, that's where I wanted to put it.
Okay, cool. All right.
Because I hang my
I
keys and
tried
stuff
to
on
put
it.
it back there and it didn't
No,
work.
because I have shelves going back there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello, Lori Ann. She says, very interesting way to do a pillowcase. Very cool, Becca. Yeah, and we're also going to be, the way we end up putting this together, it will create a French seam inside of the pillowcase. So all of our seams will be hidden and it'll feel very polished. And this goes together so quickly. This is another really easy gift to make. It's very practical. It's something that your loved ones can use and would probably appreciate. So if you have someone that might not be quilt worthy and you want to make them something, this might be something good. Give them a pillowcase. Who doesn't love a pillowcase?
I love pillowcases.
It's a quick sew and it saves them. How much do they sell for at the store nowadays? Like
Expensive.
10, 20 bucks?
Yeah.
Why have one store-bought when you can make one with your very favorite fabric? Susan says, my local quilt shop doesn't sell that fabric. Dang, I checked the websites of not just my local quilt shop, but 2 more in the region and didn't find any of that line. May have to order from Fat Quarter Shop. Well, my affiliate link for Fat Quarter Shop is in the description box down below if you need it, Susan. I also have one for Connecting Threads if you're in Canada. But I don't have one for the Scrappy Apple, but the Scrappy Apple in Winchester, Virginia. Mary, could you check and see if they can order fabric online from Scrappy Apple? Maybe we can send Kelly a little bit of business.
Okay.
She'll sell out of the whole line before the end of the evening. Barbara says, could you please bring Mary into the video? She doesn't like to be on camera.
It's not my thing.
But she'll
But
make
I
an
won't
appearance.
come just because you asked.
Well, you walked behind me a few times. So. So now that I've sewn that together, I'm just reaching into this burrito and I'm pulling it out. It's a long tube. And so I'm just turning this right sides out. It does get to be a little difficult until you get about halfway through and then it just slides right on out.
She doesn't have an online store.
But I know
But
if you
I know
call
that
her.
If you call her, she will send you to anywhere.
Yeah, she will put an order through you over the phone. It looks like she doesn't have one online.
No, she doesn't. Or at least I'm not finding it. Oh, wait a minute. Shop online.
Oh,
Just
shop
found it.
online.
Yep.
Quick, order my green fabric before it sells out.
It is out.
The green fabric's out?
No, I'm talking. Ian's texted me.
Oh.
Said my
Microphone.
was muffled. Okay, I'm good. Is that better?
Hey, Mary,
Yeah.
instead of putting on the collar, put it like down here.
Okay.
Because it just flops around. It's too
Yeah, that's
heavy.
what I thought.
Or you can put it on your shoulder, like a parrot.
Okay. I put it right here, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. There we go.
Once we have the cuff, everything turned out, then I'm going to take a couple of minutes to kind of finagle the cuff and just get it so that it's laid nice and taut. And then I'm going to bring it over here to my iron. I'm going to give it a good press from both sides. I want to get that nice and taut. Finger press it first, roll the fabric where it needs to be, and then give it a good crease. And by the way, if I would have done, and I think the instructions that I've done with this before have been to crease the cuff as well, wrong sides together, so you have something to line this up with. I didn't do that. That might have made this a little bit easier. Cozy Wonderland.
I was calling it Cozy Christmas.
I know, I kept calling it Cozy Christmas too. I was like, oh, Cozy Christmas. Nope, Cozy Wonderland. Oh, we have Bible study tomorrow.
Yes, we do, and I haven't even started.
Oh, I've been a bad influence on you this week.
It's been not good.
Well, maybe after the live we'll work on it.
This one or the green one?
I want the green sweaters.
The green sweaters.
I mean, if they have the stocking, I want more of that too.
They have the green sweaters.
I need at least a yard of the green sweaters.
And they have the stockings too.
Well, I mean, I might need 2 yards of the stockings.
Okay.
And I want the green sweaters.
Okay, I got it.
I need 1 yard because I need to make another pillowcase.
All right. Add to cart. 1 yard of the sweaters. Why is it not letting me add?
Because it's sold out already. Kelly's going to go in tomorrow and be like, where'd it all go?
It's not letting
It's
me
gone.
add.
Kathy's.
Oh, I just added it 7 times.
Oh, that's why.
Oh my goodness.
I don't need 7 yards, Mary.
No, you don't. Okay.
Just make sure she's selling it by the yard and not by the
Yes,
half
I
yard.
checked that already.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Does she have your Becca email or your personal email?
I think it's my my Sew Becca email.
Okay.
All right, get this nice and pressed. All right, once we have our cuff nice and pressed, Becca, do you have any snow there? Nope, no snow. Then we're going to do something that feels very backwards for you if you are a quilter. We are going to pick this up and we are going to put it wrong sides together. So this is what we're going to do to start building out our French seam. And now because the fabric is pre-washed, I can find that straight of grain a little bit better and allow this to lay a bit flatter. So I'm going to fuss with it, get it so that it's laying flat and that my folds are lined up here. And then I get to trim it. So I'm not going to trim it first. I'm going to sew it first, I think. Well, no, I'll trim it first. It's hard because I don't have a cutting mat that measures how far over I want to cut it. I know with the instructions, they tell you to measure and cut it down to a certain width, but I don't do that. I just cut until, like, I make it as wide as I can get out of the fabric. So I'm going to fold this over. Yep, okay, good. I'm looking for a spot where it'll stop catching. I'm going to pull this. The cuff keeps catching. Okay, there we go, just like that. I'm going to cut over about to right here. So I'm going to cut probably about 2 or so inches off. I'm going to turn it this way. Don't forget, by the way, yes, wrong sides together because we're doing a French seam. Don't forget, if you have a YouTube channel here and you want to promote yourself, exclamation selfie will allow the bot to drop a link for your channel. Okay, I'm going to cut off a little bit and then I'm going to test to make sure that what I actually cut off didn't leave any nastiness behind. I want it.
You want no nastiness.
I want no markings from the selvage, and I want all of these layers to be nice and straight. So I do have a little bit of the selvage, but this is going to be encompassed in the seam allowance, so it's going to be okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the bottom. This probably only needs about a 1/2 inch or so taken off. This one's a lot better. It's the selvage to selvage that gets wonky when you pre-wash your fabric, and so that's why I had to take so much off. There we go. Now we get to start sewing. So I'm going to start at the cuff. I'm going to line up the fabric so that the cuff is all matched, and I'm going to clip that in place right here and right here, just like this. I'm going to start stitching up here at the top of my cuff, and I'm going to back stitch at the start. I'm going to come all the way down this long edge, and then I'm going to come down this short edge. So I'm only sewing these two sides. This side is staying open and it's folded because that's the opening for the pillowcase. And this side is already folded, so I don't need to stitch over there. We're going to sew this. Just like that. I am sewing this with 1/4 of an inch-ish. Just make sure that you're going straight. I forgot to back stitch when I started, so after I finish sewing, I'll just go back over that and sew over top of it again. It just helps to reinforce the seam right there. And since you're going to be tugging at the opening to put your pillows in and out of it, it's always a good idea to do a back stitch. Also, this seam is going to be encased in the French seam. So it's going to already be a bit protected, but, you know, it's always better to be safe than sorry. And because my fabric has already been pre-washed, I get to use this pillowcase tonight. How about that? How about that? How about that?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. By the way, Josh, congratulations on getting your quilt into QuiltCon. All right. Cut that thread. I'm going to just back stitch over the start and end of this cuff again. I did that like 100 times. That's going to hold. Now we're going to turn this inside out. So I'm going to reach inside. Everyone to Becca's to test the new pillowcase. Dragonflies for Donna. I'm going to poke the corners out with my fingers. Like that. Mary, don't forget we're going to do a couple of giveaways tonight.
Oh, thank you. That means I have to go get my computer.
Yeah.
Yeah, hold on.
No worries.
Thank you for reminding
We can do
me.
that maybe in like 20 minutes.
Okay.
We'll do a couple of
I'm trying to
giveaways.
remember what the last 4 digits of your card are.
Don't worry about it. We'll order later.
Okay.
4675.
Okay. All right, let me go get my thing.
Okay, now what I'm doing is along this seam, I am rolling it with my fingers to get it folded out nice and flat. And I am going to use some clips to hold that in position. This is probably the hardest part of the whole thing because I always feel like when I roll seams, it doesn't want to always, it feels like it doesn't want to move. So one of the things that I will do is pick, I don't even know if I can explain what I'm doing, but maybe you can see it. I'm kind of picking up the seam and instead of moving both pieces, I'm holding one piece steady and rolling the other piece to where it's at until that seam is perfectly on the side. But I say this is the hardest part, but even this is not that hard, you know? If you have a special label that gets sewn into a seam, at this point you could put a label either inside in here if you want the label to be seen on the outside, or you could just add it here. I would probably tuck it in here on the cuff somewhere and just clip it in place. And then when you stitch over this, that label is going to be seen from the outside. So maybe you have one that says handmade with love or something fun like that. In fact, maybe I do have one. I'd have to go dig up my labels though. Oh, I hope you feel better, Andrea. Monique says, this is so helpful. I'm glad. I'm glad. I'm trying to give you a live stream every Friday night, all the way up to Christmas, that shows a quick, practical sew that you could do as a last minute gift idea. So, and then of course, we're also doing giveaways throughout the rest of December. Dan says, hello, Becca and Mary. It's Tish here. I will be making some of these for my grandkids and myself and my hubs. Your hubby. Awesome. Oh, look, Mary's here. You saw her. You saw her first, folks. Now, when I go back to the sewing machine, this is the last step, is sewing it. Well, technically second to last step, because we're going to turn it right side out when we're done. But when I take this back to the sewing machine, I'm going to kind of feel where that seam is, because I need to make sure that the seam that I'm taking this time is bigger than the bulk that's in here. And so it doesn't really matter how big your seam is. You can make this a 1/2 inch if you want to, as long as this little flap that's inside of here is going to fit inside. We don't want to sew right on top of that. We want to sew next to it and maybe even over a little bit, because if we sew right next to it, then we could get some threads poking through, and that could be a bit of a pain in the butt. The good news with this is if you sew and you flip it out and you see a lot of extra loose threads or maybe even some fabric poking through that you don't like, guess what? You turn it inside out and you take another seam to the left of that one, and you just keep doing it until you don't see the fabric or thread poking through that seam anymore. So just like before, I'm going to come over here, and I'm doing this with a 5/8 inch seam allowance. I'm going to back stitch at the start. And then I'm going to just sew all the way down. And then I'm going to flip over here, pivot 90 degrees, and sew 5/8 along the bottom, or whatever seam allowance you need to enclose the bit of fabric from the first time we sewed. And this is going to make your pillowcase nice and professional looking. It's going to hide all of the seams, keep them from unraveling in the wash when you wash them. They'll hold up for years this way. And then when I sew off of this French seam, I didn't backstitch, but I'm going to backstitch here too, just to lock that in. So I'm going to go back over it, backstitch a little bit. That's just going to lock in the stitching at the start and the end of this seam. I might go and do that in the corner as well, just for a little extra security. We'll clip our threads. There we go. And that is all she wrote. Now the last thing that I'm going to show you, have you made pillowcases this way before on a live? Yep, I sure have. It's been a while though. As I go through and clip, or as I go through the inside, any of these loose threads, just to make it feel a little bit cleaner, I'm just going to clip them off. Now I want to show you this. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but I've got some threads that are hanging out of that seam This is what I was talking about you might have on the other side if your second seam, when you're sewing it when it's inside out, isn't big enough. This could be sticking out of the finished side of your pillowcase. So you'll want to look for that. I'm going to snip this on the inside. It's important not to pull on those threads because we're not trying to unravel the fabric. We're just trying to get rid of the loose threads.
The giveaway has started.
The giveaway has started.
I'm going to walk out to my car and get my...
Leave your microphone here.
Yep, I'm going to go get my surround.
People don't want to hear the woods.
Okay.
Ian's probably still wandering the woods.
I know.
Help! Help! Someone needs to pick my colorway.
So funny.
Check that out.
There we go. Now I'm going to turn it inside out. Give it a good shake. And I'm just going to inspect the seams from the outside, the finished side. And if I have any area like I do down here, I'll show you in just a second. Let me poke this corner. If I've got any area where threads are kind of coming out a little bit, I'm just going to delicately give that a little tug to make sure that I've got the entire thing out here. And then once it stops giving me slack, then I'm going to trim it as close to the fabric as I can. Just like that. And that is my finished pillowcase. We did a little bit of talking and we hung out and it was done in less than an hour. So you could definitely whip these up in no time at all. Look at this. In fact, I'll go to the main camera so y'all can see the finished pillowcase. Isn't it cute? Look at that. Oh, I love it. And I cannot wait to get my other yard of this sweater fabric so that I can make the coordinating one with the red accent and the blue cuff. Now here is the side that I'm really excited about. Look at those little stockings. I wished they were straight, but that's okay. If I took a little bit more time to fussy cut this fabric, it would have been perfect. Mary's playing with the door locks. Oh, no, at 9 o'clock, the door locks engage automatically.
Right,
yeah. That literally, Mary went outside, and just as she got to the door locks engaged. The deadbolts engaged. So, look, Mary.
Yay!
Isn't it cute?
I love it.
Yeah, it's great. I'm going to take it upstairs. It's going to be mine tonight. So now I've got some free time to sew. I feel like I want to start working on my charm squares, maybe.
That works.
What should we do with the charm squares, Mary? How should we handle them? Well, first let me clean up my mess.
Yep.
This is a little bit of scrap fabric. We'll put my clips back where they go.
Very good. I'm proud of you.
I need you just to live in my sewing room because if you do, then I put stuff away. Thanks.
It's all good.
Threads up.
It's all good.
All right. We're going to throw this away. So with the charm squares for this fabric line, what I was thinking I might do is just sew the squares together. That way I don't have to starch, I don't have to subcut, I don't have to do anything. And because I've got 3 charm packs, I know I have enough to make a 10 by 12, 10 squares across by 12 squares down. Now, if these are 5 inches squared, I'm going to lose a ½ inch on either side of each of those squares, which is going to mean that they're going to finish at 4½ inches. So if I do just a little bit of math, if I have 10 that are going across and each square finishes at 4½ inches, then I know that my quilt is going to be 45 inches wide. That seems like not very wide given how many squares are in here. And if it's going to be 12 squares down and it's going to finish at 4½ inches, then 12 square, we know 10 down is 45, and then another 9 inches is 54. So without borders or sashing or anything else, just these 3 charm packs is going to be 45 by 54. What do you think? Should we do something to the 3 charm packs, or should we just make it a patchwork quilt?
Just make it a patchwork quilt.
Right? Spoiler alert, I feel like if I make it a patchwork quilt, I might actually finish it before Christmas.
I like that idea.
So, yeah, all right.
Then you could quilt it and
yeah.
we add it to the binding pile. Like we really need another quilt to add to the binding pile.
What I really ought to be doing is binding.
But I don't have it ready yet.
Well, and I'm going to help with that too, but I also know that I want to use the Juki for binding because the Juki is more powerful, and there's just a lot of weight with the quilts that I have. None of the quilts that are over there are tabletop size. They're all big quilts. And so I just don't want to struggle with the feed dogs on the 301. Can I bind on the 301? Yes. But I have a Juki, and it is a lot easier on the Juki. So I'm going to probably put Ruby up on the shelf for just a little bit, and then I will pull the Juki out this weekend, do some binding, and then I'll bring Ruby back out. Use some of the squares in the panel as focus pieces. Okay, so let's talk about what that would look like, right? And so maybe all this hour, the rest of the live stream, we're just trying to design together. We've got to take a look at how, okay, I did not do this.
What did you do?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Yes, I did. Never mind. I keep a 120-inch, I've got several of these floating around my sewing room.
Yeah, there's one in your notions drawer.
There's one in my notions drawer, there's one by the long arm, and there's one in my tool caddy that I keep right over here. But I had moved it down to the second shelf in my tackle box instead of the top shelf. And so when I went to go look in that top level compartment, I was like, it wasn't there. Who moved it? I didn't move it. And that's why I was like, I did not do it. And then when I saw it in the right place, I was like, oh yeah, I guess I did. But I put it in that spot on purpose. That it wasn't the place that it went. I just forgot that I made a new place for it. All right, so the reason why we're doing this is because if we're going to use these panel pieces as focal points, which I think would actually be kind of fun, right?
Yeah.
Like think about that. If I have a big one of these squares and then I surround it with some patchworky squares, it's going to add little pops of visual interest. And I've got 6 that I can work in here, but I've got to figure out how big this is. Ideally, what I would want is a 9 by 9 finished, which would be 9.5 by 9.5 squared. I think if I take 4 5-inch squares and sew them together, it's going to be 2 by 2, so it's going to be 9.5 by 9.5. Because 5 plus 5 is 10 minus a half of an inch for seam allowance.
46 inches.
No, I'm not talking.
I'm sorry.
I'm talking about how big would one of these squares? How big is 4 as a 4 patch?
Gotcha.
A 4 patch from my 5-inch charms is going to be 9.5 inches squared. Okay, and the reason why I'm trying to figure that out is because if I can use the panel to be 9.5-inch blocks, which we're going to find out in a minute, then I can every so often replace a 4 patch with one of these blocks, one of these 6 blocks.
Good idea.
Yeah, so I have back here, actually, a 10-inch square ruler. So if I can cut out of each of these a 10-inch square, then that gives me a 1/2 inch extra that I can size down. So I'm just going to lay this on here, and oof, that's going to be hard because I'm going to lose some of the design.
Yeah. With the
Although
allowance.
that's at 9.5. So what I need to see is, can I get, what does 9 inches finished look like? So 9.5 would be there. I could get 9.5 out of this, but I will lose some. Oh, you guys aren't even seeing what I'm doing. Let me show you what I'm doing. Hold up. Wait a minute. Math correct. Thank you. How big do you want the quilt? Well, I'm not worried about the size of the quilt. I'm just worried about making the quilt with all the charm squares. I don't want to have to procure extra fabric to work into it either. So, all right, so this will work, but I will lose the top, and I'm okay with that. So that piece would be fine. For this one, what does 9 1/4, 9.5 on this one looks like it would fit okay, but I'll lose the top up here. Or I would lose just a little bit of the bottom. So this one will still work. I'll just use a little different. Take a look at the Lori Holt chicken salad quilt. Go with 12-inch finished and do 9 patches with your charms. Okay, Georgia, let's see. Let me see if I can get 12 inches. So wait a minute, 12-inch finished. 12-inch finished would be 3 by 3. That's right. Okay. What does 12? I don't have. Oh, this is 12. Okay, so this is 12. Perfect. Oh, that won't work either. That won't work either. Well, will it? No, it won't, because in order for this to be 12 this ruler is 12 inches. In order for this to finish at 12 inches, I need it to be 12.5. So I can't do that either. It's going to have to be the 9 inches finished, and I'm just going to have to oh, goodness. But you know what, though? Like, I'm seeing this, and I'm like, I'm losing some of the design on the side.
Yeah, and that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. What the focal point is this, right? And so if that's cut off, that's going to be okay. As long as I'm fussy cutting this so that the focal point of each of these panels is where I want it to be, I think it's going to be fine.
I think so, too.
This one's going to be okay.
Yep.
Okay. I'll just have to make strategic decisions on what I'm willing to cut off or lose, right? So like on Santa, I'd rather lose the fern underneath of him than the top of his hat.
Exactly.
So far, all of them work. And this one's going to work too, but I want Warm Winter Wishes to be in there. And so I might lose... Actually, I won't lose any of the tops of the trees. This one's going to be perfect. Yep. Okay. So all of these are going to work. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to cut these out. We are going to... Oh, should I starch them, Mary? Because I'm not going to starch the charm packs.
If you're not going to starch the charm packs, don't starch the others.
Okay, we're not going to starch the other stuff, but I am going to cut out the panels, and I'm going to cut it on the lines. I'm just going to give it a dry iron press. I'm not going to starch any of this fabric because I am not starching the pre-cut. I'm just going to go slowly on that line, and then I will give it a nice dry hot iron press, and then I will subcut this down to what I need it to be, and then we'll just start sewing some four patches together, and then we'll lay out the 4 patches, and all this isn't going to be done in the live stream, but we'll lay out all the 4 patches in a way that looks good to our eye, and we'll sprinkle in these little panel blocks. And then I'll sew all the 4 patches and the panel blocks together. And I think that'll be a lot of fun. And by the way, somebody was asking me what size do you want it to be, and I mentioned that I didn't really care. I just wanted to put it together. I'm not going for a bed quilt. I know I am going for like a couch throw. So if that helps you at all. And I feel like 45 by 50, well, it's actually maybe going to be even a little bit bigger than that now that I'm working in these blocks, because I might have more that I can do. But even if it only comes out to 45 by 54, if I add a border to it, it's going to be a little bit bigger. But most throw blankets that you buy at like Target and stuff, they're like 40 by 60. So I think that's a really good, I think 45 by 54 is good. And this is just going to be a quilt that'll come out once a year. I actually don't have any Christmas quilts, so this is nice. What do you think of the Caterpillar? I absolutely love it. And oh yeah, that's a really good talking point. So if you guys haven't seen already, on Wednesday, December 11th, I haven't scheduled the live yet, but I will schedule it this weekend. On Wednesday, December 11th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, I'm going to be live with a Caterpillar sales event right here on my YouTube channel. They're going to have some bundles curated for you, and you'll be able to use my my affiliate link and my code to get 20% off anything you buy. You can buy the bundles. I think it's 20% off anything you buy. They'll go over all the details there, but it'll be 20% off. And they'll have some curated bundles at special prices for you as well. And you can either shop the bundle and get all of the items or just buy things a la carte. So make sure to mark your calendar for that. The other fun thing is they're going to have 2 prizes that we're going to do as live stream giveaways. So you might be able to walk away with some Caterpillar goodies without spending any money just by being here on the live stream. You will need to be here on the live stream watching on Wednesday night to be eligible to win, though.
It won't let me pick a winner.
Is it complete yet?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's done.
Try it.
It's not closing up, and see, it won't let me close the entries.
Refresh the page.
Okay.
I think for those that might not be able to, Patty G says, I've had my Caterpillar Glow for a year and I love it. I love mine too. For those that won't be able to catch the sale event live, no problem. We've got you covered. While you won't be eligible for the giveaways, because that is only for those that are watching live, you can still shop the sale. They're going to keep the sale or the party open until Friday, I think. So you'll have a few days to browse and add things to your cart. So if there's something that you've been eyeballing from Caterpillar, maybe as a Christmas gift to yourself or a Christmas gift that your loved ones can get for you, you can use the sales event to help them save a little bit of money and get you the notions that you really want.
Jean Bow is our first winner.
Yay, Jean!
Yep, she's already responded. So, Jean, if you would please email me your mailing address to mary@sobecca.com, and I will get that package out to you this week.
And we have a lot of goodies. So we're going to do another one, and we'll pick a winner in 15 minutes at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
Yep, just started.
This is such a great idea to intersperse the panel. I don't know who thought of that, but I feel like they should get a mystery prize. Who was it?
Yeah, I don't know. What is this?
Oh, those are Zoe's from the Ren Fair. I
Oh,
don't even
okay.
think she knows that
Are
she
these
has
Zoe's
them.
too?
No, their coupons are worth $1 off
Oh.
each one. It's from a Block of the Month program that
Oh.
Quilter Studio does.
Okay.
I should treat them like money, but I've had them for years and I keep forgetting where I put them, so I never spend them. All right. Now that these are all pressed, I'm going to grab my ruler and I'm going to try to fussy cut a 9.5-inch square out of this. And you know, I actually think I have, oh, bing, bang, boom, bada boom. I don't have a 9.5-inch Quilter Select ruler, but I do have a 9.5-inch Creative Grids ruler. And when I'm fussy cutting to help my brain not overthink where the ruler needs to be, I really like getting a ruler that is the exact size that I need to fussy cut to and using that to audition the template. So this is 9.5 inches. I know that's what I need to cut these blocks at. So what I'm doing is taking my 9.5-inch ruler and laying it here, and I'm looking inside the 1/4-inch mark around all 4 sides of this to make sure that this is going to be what I want it to be and that I'm okay with what I'm going to lose in the seam allowance or have to cut off. The other thing that I'm looking for is just registration marks like these words down here, because I want to make sure that my words are straight. I don't want to cut it so it's like this. So I'm also using a minute to line up one of the lines on the bottom of all those words. Once I'm comfortable with what I have, I'm just going to come in and cut. and cut. And then I will turn this around and I will cut and cut just like that. And this is scrap. So there's my first 9.5-inch block. I will set it delicately over here. Got to be very careful with these because I have not put any starch in any of this.
That's very unusual for you.
I know it. Now we're going to do the Santa. And I care more about making sure that the words Holly Jolly are in the frame and that his whole hat is in here as well. So that's what I'm looking to make sure I keep. And this one actually looks like it might be 9.5 inches or 9 inches perfect if I do this the right way. So we're going to go here. And then we'll turn it around. Up and over. Uh-oh, my ruler shifted a little bit. Make sure that everything's still good. It is, okay. There we go. There's my second 9.5-inch square. How long did you say it was going to be? Well, before I decided to add in the extras, these extra panel pieces, it was going to be 45 by 54, and that was before borders. I do know that as of last Saturday, Scrappy Apple had several of the charm packs left, and they had a lot of the panels. So if you want to make the same quilt, reach out to the Scrappy Apple in Winchester, Virginia, or you can source this from any of your favorite quilt shops online or in person or otherwise. Again, the fabric line is called Cozy Wonderland, and it is by Fancy That Designs for Moda Fabrics. How many panels in total do you have? Just the one. I just have the one. Although, if I like the way this looks, I might buy another one. I really like these big blocks. You guys, this was your idea, and this is genius. Right?
Very good.
Okay, I'm going to lose a little bit of the branch on the right side and across the top, and I'm okay with that. Don't forget, guys, if you have a YouTube channel and you want to promote yourself, exclamation selfie in the chat, we'll have the bot drop a link for your channel. What you doing, Mare?
I'm going to clean up this pile down here.
The stuff I threw on the floor at the start of the live stream?
It's all good.
All right, and then last one. Oh gosh, I love those ornaments. Oh, Christmas is being cut off right now, so let me move this over. And I don't want to lose, oh, this is going to be 9 inches perfectly wide, but different high. So we're going to cut off some of the tree. It'll be fine. Okay.
I will keep it close by in case you need it. What is there?
Oh, the fabric?
Yep.
Yeah, I probably won't. I will have to do a little bit of math to figure out how many charms. Here's one more piece, and then I'm done with my trash. I will probably have to do a little bit of math to figure out how many charm squares I'm going to need, though. All right, so We've got all of our panel pieces cut. Oh, this is going to be so cute. And by the way, oh, no, we don't. We got one more.
And you could use those.
Yeah,
like
by
as
the
a
way,
border.
the panel comes with labels.
Yeah, like quilt labels. Yeah.
Yeah, there's 5 of them. You've got one that says handmade by, one that has mittens, one that says made with love, one with the Santa Claus face, and another one that says handmade by. So
Cool.
I've been writing my labels recently with a, what are those pens
You know
called?
what you could do with it though? You could
Micron
like
pens.
the border. You could do like cornerstones, and then use one for the back for the label.
Oh yeah, that's 5, right?
Yeah.
Look at you being smart. Or maybe I will. I'd have to turn the labels into squares.
Yes.
Maybe add some fabric to it.
Yes.
But I could always get the solid that's the same cream and just build onto it.
Yep.
La 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 la. Okay, that is
My Chewy gave up the soft, cushy blanket for my panda jacket.
1 inch. So that's, wait. Yeah, that's 1 inch. And that's 1 inch. Oh, Are the words not centered? They are not, the words are not centered on this one. Oh, yes, they are. I lied. My eye is playing tricks on me. Kind of, ish. But it doesn't matter as long as everything's straight and I'm not going to lose anything.
Yep.
So we're going to bring this down a bit. I like that. Mary, and so that's the dead center of the block, but I don't think I want that to be dead center. So on these creative grid rulers, when you have the square ones, one of the things that's kind of neat is they have a little circle with crosshairs in it, and that represents the very dead center of the block or of the ruler. So if you are using these to do fussy cutting like I am, and you want to cut perfectly so that something is in the very middle, whether it's a seam or a design element, you can use that crosshair. I keep turning my light board on. Becca, what time on Wednesday is the live? It is 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The live stream will be scheduled sometime tomorrow. So you'll be able to set yourself a reminder. And don't forget my Quiltmas video. Here, Mary. My Quiltmas video drops tomorrow at 6
Where did it go?
on the floor.
Look at it.
All right. There we go. Now, let's think about this. I feel like we got to do some math, Mary.
There's a piece of that plastic bin I broke.
So I know you guys are going to sit through me thinking through my thoughts again. I know if I'm using my 3 charm packs, there's 42 pieces in each one. 42 times 3 is 126. Okay. I know the biggest I could get my quilt using just the charm squares would be 120. That would be 10 across by 12 down. Okay. Yep, I'm just thinking through in my head. So 10 across by 12 down is going to be 120, which means there would be 6 pieces from these 3 charm square packs that I wouldn't need. However, now I have these pieces, and each one of these blocks represents 4 squares. So if I take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the pieces that I cut, and I multiply that by 4, that's 24. And then if I add the 6 that I wasn't going to use, that's 30 squares that I don't need from these. Okay, I need to write this down because the math needs to keep mathin', and I need to remember what I'm doing. So, 126 minus the 6, because I need to get it down to 120, and then minus the 24 for the squares that I have here. That should be 96 left. I would need 96 squares plus the 6 blocks to equal a 45 by 54 inch quilt. However, now I've got 30 extra. And this is where the fun comes in. So I can take those extra 24 and add them to the right of my 10. So now I have 12 by 12. And that will still use 120 because I've got these blocks. And that'll make my quilt be more like 54 by 54 before borders. That will square it off. Did everybody follow how I did that? Mary, did you follow that?
No.
Okay. I think it'll work. I'm just going to go over it one more time. Check me on my thought process. I have 126 squares. I was going to use 120 of them, meaning 6 pieces I wouldn't need. I would need 120 to make my quilt 10 across by 12 down. 10 times 12 is 120. That's how I got that. Mm-hmm. Each of these 6 blocks from my panel represent 4 blocks from my charm squares. 6 times 4 is 24. Because my quilt is going to have 12 rows, I could add another row, which would be 12, and then a second row, which would be 24. So the 24 fabrics that would have been that are displaced from this, I can just add on to the width of my quilt, making it a 12 by 12 with these 6 pieces interspersed. The length would still be 54 because it's still 12 down, but the width would be 12 now, making it 54 wide. Somebody's saying you could also do 11 blocks by 13, leaving you with 7 charms.
That makes it the quilt longer too.
Would you go with 11 by 13 or 12 by 12?
I would go with 12 by 12.
I think 12 by 12 would be easier for my brain.
Yeah. That's what I would do. Oops.
I'll probably do 12 by 12. I'm probably going to do 12 by 12. The other thing that I'll need to think through as I'm doing this is not all of the fabric is directional, but these big prints definitely are. So, Edie Jones, you won. Congratulations. 11 by 13 would work. It would. Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm thinking in my head. Mm-hmm. No. Yeah, it would because of this, because of these. Why don't you sew 4 squares together and then add the fussy cuts to see what happens? Yeah, I can absolutely do that. That's kind of where I was going next. So I'm just going to write down 12 by 12. So when I do this, I just want to make a decision. Do I want the directional fabric from the panel to always be directional straight up and down, or because I think there might be there is definitely directional fabric in here. I think I'm going to make it so that there is a top of the quilt. Directional fabric is always starting at the top going down. So we're going to do that.
That's what I would do.
All right. So we're going to open up hey, do you want to help me?
Edie just responded. Edie, would you please email me your mailing address to mary@sewbecca.com, and I'll get your package out to you this week. Thank you very much. What do you need my help with?
Well, we're going to have to pick out some fabrics that we don't need.
Okay.
And I think the ones that I want to pick out, I think I need to take 6 out of here. There's going to be, I don't want this one because there's no contrast. Yeah. So it's the yardage that I had. It's the snowflake. So I'm taking that out of each of my charm packs. That's 3 prints that I don't need, or that's 3 prints that I've taken out. Now I need to take 3 more because I only need 120. I don't need 126. Okay. So I've got to decide what else I would take out of here. I don't love the houndstooth.
Yeah, I don't either.
But if there's a houndstooth in red, I don't want it, like I don't want to leave it in here.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to look and see if there's another houndstooth. Let me give you guys the overhead so you can enjoy the fabric that I'm flipping through instead of my face. And I'm going to turn this around because I keep hitting that light. So this is the one that I think I'm going to pull out from the other three. These are the three that I already pulled out. I just want to make sure that if I pull this out, there's no other, I don't love houndstooth.
You know, there are 2 of each kind in here.
No, not necessarily.
Oh, really? Okay.
No, actually, no, there's not.
Okay,
Because this is a big skew.
Gotcha. Okay.
Oh, there, see, there's a red houndstooth. So I don't want to pull out the green because then I would end up with just the red houndstooth, and I'd rather have it balanced than to not have it. So I think what I'm going to do is err on the side of pulling out a print that isn't going to give me a lot of contrast. Some of them there are too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty. You know what? I think this is going to be the second one that I pull out because that's not a lot.
Yeah, I saw that too. There isn't a lot to it.
Yep. There's a little bit, there's some of the creams don't have a lot, but like the red, that's a very big contrast on the cream. You've got the stockings, which I think will be fun. You've got the ornaments, the tossed ornaments, which I think will be fun. The Santas are absolutely adorable. I think there's more on there than there is on this one.
Pull that one out.
So we're going to pull that one out. These will be the 6 that I don't use. So that'll go in my scrap pile. There, that's trash. All right, so now I'm just going to make a 4-patch. And because I want this to be scrappy, I don't really care what I'm pulling. I'm just going to pull 4 fabrics that aren't the same and sew them together. Give me the sweater. That's what I opened up to. Oh my gosh. And I guess I'll pull, I want a red. I want to put a red in here. Pull a red tree. There we go. If there's directional fabric that is obviously a direction, I want to pay attention to that. I'm going to sew these with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm just going to make a 4-patch. I'm so excited that I'm starting this quilt. I was really excited when I saw the fabric. Yeah,
Yep.
I was. So I've got those, and now I'm going to sew these 2 together. I'm just going to alternate my seams so that I can nest them.
Oh. Is it okay if I throw these away?
Yeah. I'll press one seam going one way and the other seam going the other. And this isn't, this actually isn't directional fabric because some of these trees are, the trees are going in both
Yeah,
ways.
they're going all over the place.
I love that. It's not a toss, it's semi-directional, but that makes it easier. So I'm going to balance it like this. Except no, because my seams are not going in opposite ways, so we'll do it this way. That'll be fine. I'm not going to overthink the 4 patches because at the end of the day, all this is going to go into a quilt and it's going to be a coordinated scrappy quilt. And when I say coordinated scrappy, what that means is I'm not giving any thought to the placements, not overthinking the placements of the fabric. And there's a lot of different fabrics that are going to go into this, but they're all from the same line. And so they are designed to complement one another and work together. So there's some coordination, but it's still scrappy and a patchwork feel. And I feel like a lot of times when you gift quilts, if you give people a patchwork quilt, they're more likely to use it than if you give somebody a quilt that's got an intricate piecing pattern on. You know what I mean?
Yep. I do.
It's like you're giving them permission to actually use it.
Yeah, because I hate it when people, you work all that time on your quilt and then you give it to them and they stick it in a closet.
Yeah. And so there's my, I'll pull it up here. Here, look at this, Mary. It matches height-wise,
It.
and then it matches width-wise. So I'm just going to go ahead and sew this onto, actually, this way, because I want the Santa to be up. I'm going to sew it onto the right of a panel, just so I can see this put together. And then however this one comes together is how I will work it into the quilt. These will stay connected, but from this point on, I'm just going to make 4 patches. I'll probably make 2 patches and then cut all those together and I'll start sewing them into 4 patches. We'll do some chain piecing.
This drawer needs some help.
I don't know whose idea this was, but it's great. I just, Ian got that for me.
Oh,
I don't
for
need,
quilting.
yeah, I don't need all of them. A lot of those bags, we can probably get rid of some of them.
Yeah,
So
we'll go through them later.
yeah,
I cleaned up
we can
the
put
top
some
2
of them in the
drawers.
giveaway pile, the giveaway.
I cleaned up the top 2 drawers.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I
There.
just can't resist.
What do you think, Mary?
I love it.
Look at
It's
this.
gonna look really cute.
There we go. That's the start of my patchy, cozy, my cozy Christmas quilt. That's what I'm going to call it. Cozy Christmas.
Yeah, because that's what we kept calling the fabric
Yeah.
line.
Cozy Christmas. Cozy Christmas. Georgia says, Becca, again, look at the chicken salad quilt. The layout would be perfect for your creation. I don't have the chicken salad quilt. So I'd have to look it up online. I will look it up, but I also really am happy with this, right? Like I will look,
Yeah,
but I'm actually just kind of happy with the brainless.
I like it. I think it looks cool.
The
So do you need
pan.
those anymore?
Oh, this is. No,
Oh, you do.
no, yeah, I don't need them.
Okay.
I don't need them. The panel is from Cozy Wonderland, the line Cozy Wonderland. All the fabric that I'm working with tonight, will you put this back there too, is from Cozy Wonderland. They're wanting me to Google it. I don't even have my phone. I can't get to the keyboard.
What's looking for the
Can you go over
chicken
there?
salad quilt?
Yeah, just go over there and get my phone.
Oh, get your phone. Okay.
I was going to Google it afterwards,
Okay.
but they're really adamant to check out this chicken salad quilt.
Okay.
So we'll check out the chicken salad quilt. Chicken salad quilt. Oh, I see why they were saying that. Look. That's why they were saying
That's
that.
why,
Yeah. Except, I mean, I think we could still make it work. She's got some rectangles in here too. But I see what you're talking about. So I'll hold it up here so you can see. That's what they're talking about, is the placement of the panel squares kind of move around so that you have a bit of movement, which actually is exactly what I was going to do. So I just wasn't sure how I was going to get there. All I wanted to do at this point, now it wasn't necessarily build out the row, but just verify, like make sure that these work together. So my next step that I was going to do, Mary doesn't know this yet, but I was going to take these and lay them out on my floor and intersperse these where I want them to be and then pick them up and start sewing them together. Except I already know, nope, I'm going to do it that way. Because if I start sewing these even just as 2 patches, then it's going to mean that I will always have to have at least 2 squares on the left or the right of every panel, and there might be a time where I only want one. Well, I guess I could turn it sideways. I think we're going to just lay it out just to make sure, because then I can audition all the colors and balance everything out. But this one, we're going to leave the way it is.
I love
So it's funny. They were like, Google chicken salad, Google chicken salad. I did, and that's exactly what I had in my head. Great minds think alike. Not necessarily that layout, but definitely like having the panels pop instead of being like,
Yep.
ooh.
Yeah.
And I don't know what ooh is, but
I know what ooh is.
so yeah, great. I'm going to do this. It's going to be fun, and I'll get Mary's help to help me lay these out. That's just part of the thing that I feel like you get really excited about this
Yeah.
too. So we'll work on that. How many more minutes till the giveaway?
3 minutes and 53 seconds.
Well, 3 minutes and 53 seconds. Great. Let's go take a look at the Facebook group and see what y'all have been up to tonight. I just got to get my... Do I have it? Oh, man. Where did it go? Where did you go now? Here it is. There it is. Okay, so we're going to go to Sew and Tell. And I'm going to go to the Facebook group. Oh, look, Scrappy Apple Quilts and More. This is the Facebook page for the... Is this the one in Winchester? The Scrappy Apple? Yeah, because they're going... Yeah. So this is the Scrappy Apple. I will put this in the chat. Paste. There we go. So if you want to see their Facebook page. Okay, here we go. All right. So Becca and friends, let's see what y'all have been doing. Let's see what you've been doing. You guys are so fun. I love this. Okay. You got your eye on the comments, so I don't have to read through those while I'm doing this.
Yeah,
I can just look.
I'm just kind of looking here.
Okay. All right. So first up in the group tonight. Da 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 da. Georgia McRoy says binding a tree skirt during the Friday live stream. That's a pretty tree skirt. Oh, that's the other thing we need to get, Mary.
What?
We wanted to get the red. Oh, you guys don't even know. For the fabric that for this quilt that I'm making, I want to get the red, and because I want to get just the solids of the red and the cream Moda Bella solids that blend with this, and we're going to make a red and white pieced binding.
That's right. Yeah,
To make it look like a candy cane. And we were going to use the Santa heads to be the border. Ah, see? Ah, yeah. There. All right, let's see what else we've got. Janine says she's finally finished this one tonight for her youngest daughter. She hid a message challenging her to find it, and it's all free motion quilting. Let's see if we can find the message. Wow, Janine, look at all that quilting you did. Oh, you did a great job. Oh, look at that pebbling, guys. Is that the message? I love you? Is that what it says right there?
I don't know.
It sure does. Love you. I love that you wrote that in there. So pretty. Glennie is asking in the Facebook group, who else is doing the Cotton Cuts Flyaway Puzzle Mystery Quilt? This is my 9th one. You are doing it? Did you sign up already?
I did.
What colorway did you get?
Nightingale.
Oh, we're going to have to go look and see what those are.
That's the blues.
Oh, the shibori looking ones? Yeah. We'll have
I'm
to
doing
go
it
look.
for my neighbor across the street.
Roberta is working on her Quilt as her go. The photo is of an 8-inch square batting, untrimmed, string block, trimmed block, and block sewn onto the backing. Okay. Anonymous member has watched my YouTube videos and would like to participate in the live sessions. Okay. Well, hopefully you're here. Also wrote, how do I connect? She is live right now.
And the giveaway has ended.
All right. Who is the winner?
Let's see.
Joy T is doing Freebird. So Terry is doing the Flamingo Cave.
Streamlabs is doing weird things
Oh,
tonight.
wow. Claudia made... I think Donna and her team did this Mickey and Minnie, the magic quilt. I was going to... I think I... Oh, I love that one. Oh,
Our winner is Lori Ann.
Lori Ann.
L-A
Four Dreams.
4 Dreams.
Congratulations, Lori Ann. Let's refresh the screen and see if we've got anything else in here. Lori Ann said, I'm here, yippee!
Yay! Lori Ann, please email your mailing address to me at mary@sobecca.com.
Oh, look at this.
And I will get your package out to you next week.
Holly says, thank you for the reminder that the hubby wanted a new pillowcase. He picked out these cute kitties and wine and cheese fabrics when we were down in Florida. And now her pillowcase is done too.
Yay.
Yay. Susan Yarout said, I made this little quilt for the Guild Holiday Party gift exchange last Wednesday. Oh my goodness, Mary.
What? What did I do?
Becca's finished a buttload of quilts.
Oh.
The buttload of quilts.
Yep.
Wait, I spy a Chewy and a Bella.
I do.
Buttload of quilts. It's actually taller now.
Yeah, well, it's on top of a chair, too.
No, but I mean sitting next to the chair because we added a couple more in there.
Oh, that's right.
I don't have to bend down for it to be a buttload.
Now we got to select fabrics for the binding.
Yeah, we'll work on that too.
Yeah.
We'll work on that offline. Wow, it's almost 10 o'clock too.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we've got in the Facebook group, see if anything else came through.
Squirrely Quilter says she's doing Nightingale and Crimsonette.
Buffalo Bob! Finished the block I was working on in the Zoom.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
That's really
Wow. Wow.
That's gorgeous.
How do I send him a blue ribbon?
I don't know.
Oh, so pretty.
You have to make one on a quilted postcard.
Oh, would that be funny if I
Yeah.
just could make like a little squared off, like a little slightly rounded square with two, and I just start mailing those out to people that I'm like, I liked your quilt. Except I don't have their mailing address, so.
Oh, that's true.
I'll give this one a blue ribbon. Heck yeah.
That's gorgeous.
I can't
It
stop
kinda
staring
looks like
at
a
it.
Mariner's compass.
It kind of does. I love all those points.
Yep. Is that? I wonder if it's paper pieced.
It's got to
Or
be.
if it has to be because the points are like perfect.
I think he was paper piecing on the Zoom. Yeah.
And it looks to be paper pieced in the background.
Melody Kiefer says, did I win too?
Not tonight.
Not tonight.
Not tonight.
Margaret McDonald says, I quilted this on my sewing machine. Look at all that. See, this is another quilt that I would call coordinated scrappy, right? It's a lot of scrappiness going on, but then you have some negative space for your eye to rest before you go back into the chaos and the craziness.
But each of those squares
are also
all
uniform.
different.
Yep. Everything is different, but the shapes are uniform. You've got the white fabric to settle your eye on, and you have the pieced border. But also, and I can't zoom in anymore, she quilted this on her sewing machine, so I'm going to guess that she did free motion quilting on a domestic. And do you see the
Yes, it's
detailed
very
quilting in that
finely
white?
quilted.
Wow.
Gosh.
Can we give her a blue ribbon too?
Yes, we can.
Okay, 2 blue ribbons tonight. There was another winner pulled, Melody K.
Oh, how did it pull another winner?
Go look at the.
Because I closed it out.
Listen, if it pulled 2
If it-
winners, we will honor
give
that.
2 winners. So tell Melody to email.
Hold
me
on, let's just double check the giveaway.
Okay. If I look under history, is that what
Yep,
I
that's
look
right.
under? It did. It pulled
Okay,
2
great.
winners.
Melody, you won 2. So
Yeah.
email us at Becca or Mary at sobecca.com.
Sobecca.com.
Mary at sobecca.com.
Yeah, it pulled 2 winners.
Hey, that's okay.
bizarre. Yeah.
And you did the thing that Ian did. You might have clicked
I
it
might have
twice.
clicked it
Who
twice.
cares? We've got plenty.
Yep.
Did you complete that one?
I did.
Okay, I was gonna say pick a third
did.
winner. Oh wow, Jennifer. Worked on a few works in progress last few weeks. Feels great getting those done.
Jennifer always gets so much done. She just amazes me.
Well,
Like,
I mean,
she-
but
she
some of the
took-
patterns, like she and Susan were talking about this when we went to the nut house, right?
Mm-hmm.
This pattern is super easy to do. I did one on a live stream really quick, like just a couple hours. You take a square and you snowball the opposite
Snowballs,
corners,
yep.
and then you sew it together and you're done.
Yep. It's just like she had all of those 3-yard quilts
Yep.
cut out, and she whipped them out like no time.
Yep.
I think she finished 5 quilts that weekend.
Yep. Now this one's a little bit more
Or that
intricate
week.
because it's a lot of squares.
Right.
But I love how she did a ton of different reds to make it feel like there's movement in the background
Right.
instead of just having the pieces
Oh
of
yeah,
fabric.
I just noticed that. I thought that was all red.
Yeah, no,
Like,
it's
all
got
one
movement.
Fabric, but yeah, it's got definitely got movement.
Yep. Look at her.
I
She's like,
love
look
that
at me.
lady.
Look at me. Look at me.
She's so fun.
She is fun. All right. Oh, Holly. She finished the FPP birds and now it's time to assemble them. That's that's going to be such a pretty quilt.
Yeah. There's no cardinal on there.
Well, we'll pretend that there
Yeah.
is. Oh, Buffalo Bob with his blue ribbon quilt. Can we give her a blue ribbon for the
Yes.
birds?
Yes, we should.
And then can we give Jennifer a blue ribbon for just being Jennifer?
Yes, for just
Okay.
being Jennifer.
And then who else are we giving blue ribbons out to tonight? Margaret gets a blue ribbon.
Yeah.
Holly gets
why
a...
don't we give everybody a blue ribbon?
Everybody that posted a picture gets a blue ribbon. And we mean a virtual blue ribbon. There's no real blue ribbons being mailed.
We haven't figured that out yet.
All right. Let's see if there's anything else. Oh, we got one
look
more
at the
member
German
request.
Shepherd. I like the German Shepherd.
Oh, wow. Kelly.
Where is her?
Kelly
Oh,
finished
Kelly
Ziva's
Walter.
portrait that she worked on for the Zoom. Blue ribbon.
Love it.
Blue
Love it.
ribbon.
She gets a double blue ribbon.
Ooh, Diane. Blue ribbon.
Yep.
We're just handing them out like
Like popsicles.
water. Popsicles, even better. Made a wine bottle cover.
Wow.
Oh, look at that. Holy poop, you're 60, Donna.
I love it.
I love it. Holy poop.
That's too funny. Oh, look at the little sweaters.
I finished 101 sweater ornaments to give away at work.
Oh my goodness.
It's like cute.
Wow. I never even thought about making
That's a great
ornaments
idea.
with that, and I gave that away in one of the packages.
It's fine.
I had a big one and a small one.
It's fine. Somebody will get that template.
Yep.
All right, friends. Well, it has been real. It has been fun.
And it's been real fun.
But it's been real, and it has been real fun. We're going to take off. We're going to get done. We've got lots of stuff to do over the weekend, including binding about a buttload of quilts. So maybe next week, before or after the project that we do, maybe we can do some sort of a trunk show to show what I have accomplished this week.
That would be wonderful.
It would be nice if when we came to the live stream tomorrow or next Friday, not only are we giving things away, not only will we show a practical project that you can sew last minute for Christmas, but I would like to be able to show you at a minimum this quilt top finished and at least a couple of quilts that are bound that I finished on the long arm.
That would be hard. That would be amazing.
And I'm just going to commit to this right now.
Okay.
One of the quilts that I show that is fully finished, bound, and labeled will be given away next week.
Ooh.
A quilt that I will have pieced and quilted and bound on my own.
That's cool.
And it won't be a small quilt.
Nope, because they're all big.
That'll be
They're
one
all
of the
big.
giveaways next week. Thank you, friends, so much for hanging out with us, Mary. There you go. All right, guys. We'll see you all next Friday. Don't forget, tomorrow is the Quiltmas video. Wednesday is the Cricut live sale event with 2 Cricut items, not Cricut. No, Caterpillar.
Caterpillar.
Sorry, why was I saying Cricut? I was
I
saying
don't know.
Cricut. I hope I didn't say Cricut earlier.
You probably looked at the Cricut machine over there.
Yeah, but I hope earlier in the live stream I wasn't saying Cricut.
you
I meant
said
Caterpillar.
Caterpillar.
Caterpillar. Wednesday night is a live Caterpillar sale event with 2 Caterpillar items being given away at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
And a quilt. Oh no,
No,
that's
and then Friday
Friday.
night will be our usual shenanigans with a quilt given away and another quick sew project.
And it is shenanigans.
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 Yep. Okay, that's enough for me. I'll see y'all later. Bye.